Rochester Police Department. Today, just before 11 o'clock, we had a few calls for a criminal mischief happening on Glendale Park. At about 11:05, 11:06 this morning, another call came in for a male who was possibly having some mental disturbances. And the officers arrived a short time later. When they approached the home at 108 Glendale Park, an individual came out of the house, attacked the two officers with a knife, stabbed one of the officers in the face. That officer was able to return rounds from his firearm, striking the suspect at least one time. The suspect ran from the scene, was taken into custody a short time later in the 400 block of Dewey Avenue. The suspect was taken to RGH Hospital via ambulance, and the officer has gone to Strong Hospital. The officer is a 20-year veteran. So at this point in time, it appears that neither injury to the officer or the suspect are life-threatening, and I'm not going to be releasing the officer's name as of yet, and the suspect's name won't be released quite yet either, as the investigation's in the preliminary stages. Questions?
What about the protocols for handling someone who may have a mental issue? How did that play into it, or did it?
Well, as soon as the officers got there, before they could even assess the situation, my understanding is they were attacked. So there was no, from what I understand, there was no chance for the officers even to assess the state of the individual. He immediately attacked them.
Do you know how many rounds were discharged?
I don't know exactly, just more than one.
Do you know where the suspect was hit?
I believe he was struck in the upper body, but I'm not sure where. I just know that it's non-life threatening.
Were there shots fired by both officers?
No, just one officer that I'm aware of, but again, I don't have all the information as of yet. It's very preliminary.
Do we know, was it the officer that was stabbed that
I do not
shot?
know that at this point.
Well, this is the second officer that's been stabbed in the face recently. Are you guys going to change the protocol?
Well, it's the job that we have, as I mentioned the last time that we had an incident such as this, is a very dangerous job, and our guys go out and they risk their lives every single day when they leave their house in the morning and they don't know that they're going to make it home. This could be considered a normal call that you'd go to on any given day, and the fact that somebody decided to attack an officer is disturbing, and it should be disturbing to everybody. But I don't know that we're going to change our protocol, because we already have protocol in place to deal with suspects and individuals that are dangerous.
What was the original incident, the mischief? What was the nature of that call?
My understanding is it just came in as somebody breaking windows or something of that nature. I'm not sure exactly.
Who did this come from? A neighbor, a friend, a witness, a relative?
I believe the call came from 108 Glendale Park. I don't know if it was a relative. I don't know if it was a neighbor. I'm not sure.
Do we know, is that where the suspect lived?
I don't know that.
How long are you going to have the streets closed for?
An investigation of this type might take quite some time. So it could be the rest of today, probably into early evening, I'm guessing.
So the actual scene happened where again?
108 Glendale Park, and the individual was taken into custody in the 400 block of Dewey Avenue after running from the scene.
So was there an extensive foot chase?
I believe so.
And any idea what happened, or who all was involved in that? The two officers or more?
I think a couple officers took him into custody. I'm not sure, 2, 3, I'm not sure. No more than that, from what I understand.
We see a number of agencies involved. Who have you actually gotten into this? Who has come out? I see a number of agencies.
To be quite frank, I went straight to the scene and got as much information as I could to come and address the media. I've seen county cars here from the sheriff's department, grease cars as well. I'm not sure who else.
So it's not as if there's a specific time, a standard procedure for calling in a number of agencies?
No, not a specific. Anytime an officer calls for help or shots fired, as I mentioned at the previous incident, officers come from all over.
Will you be doing two-mans by car? I know, in previous incidents they do two.
There were 2 officers on scene for this job, and it didn't change what took place due to the suspect's actions.
Was there anybody else involved besides this one subject?
Not that I'm aware of. But again, I don't know that information for sure at this time.
Is there any ongoing threat to the general public in that neighborhood?
Not at all. The suspect's been taken into custody.
Any idea if this person has some history of mental issues?
I do not know that yet.
I'm guessing that's one of those things you start looking into it.
Absolutely.
Are there video cameras in the area?
I don't know that information yet. It's a residential street, but again, right at the corner of the street, there's stores and things of that nature, so I don't know.
Was body camera footage rolling?
Don't know. Don't know.
When you have something like this erratic and then ultimately violent behavior, what are the questions that you got to deal with?
all the normal questions. What took place prior to us getting there? What took place once the officers got there? The investigation that follows up.
What about the individual?
Well, we have to look at his history and see what maybe brought him to this point. Whether or not there was substance abuse involved, any kind of drugs, alcohol, anything like that.
Mental illness?
Possible. We have to look at all that.
As part of this investigation, will Rochester Police be going door to door, talking with neighbors?
It's part of the standard investigation of any major incident that takes place. We'll do our normal neighborhood checks and everything else. It's standard procedure.
Any idea about the prognosis for that one officer? We said he's probably not.
I haven't been to the hospital yet. I understand that it's non-life threatening and he should be okay. But again, I don't know for sure the extent of the injuries yet. I just know he was stabbed in the upper body, I believe his face.
And the subject?
What about the suspect?
Prognosis, condition?
Non-life threatening, and he was struck in the upper body.
Just once?
I believe so.
Okay.
All set? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.